and welcome to the 27th of August for our next installment for the webinar series. We're actually talking to Bert Oldfield's principal, Mr. Doug Perrott. Doug, I'm so sorry. How do I actually pronounce your last name?
Parrot.
Parrot, not like the presidential candidate back
No,
in the United States. Parrot.
no. There's no French lineage, unfortunately, in my name. It's two T's at the end, so Parrot.
Parrot, not a problem. It's like parrot except with an E at the start.
Yeah.
Not a problem. Sorry about that. I keep introducing you like you're the French version. Never mind. So we've got Doug from Burt Oldfield in New South Wales, and we're also joined by Jayne West from Queensland. Now, Jayne, I always believe in having ladies first. Would you be able to tell us a little bit something about yourself? Uh, Jayne, you're still muted. Jayne, could you try that one more time? Guys, I'm so sorry about this. I think it's actually GoToWebinar having issues. Uh, it's been cutting everyone in and out for some reason. I apologize for that, guys. So Jayne, do we have you online? It seems like Jayne's not with us at the moment, but that's okay. So Doug, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about the school that you're working with?
Yeah, absolutely, John. Yeah, I'm a principal of Burt Oldfield Public School. We have approximately 230 students, K to 6 obviously. Lovely little school in the heart of Western Sydney in Seven Hills. We are a low SES school and serve a low SES school community. We have approximately 70% of our students from a language background other than English. We are a PBL, Positive Behaviour for Learning, school, and this is the third year of my principalship here, and I would say that one of the main focuses of my principalship thus far is to try and increase the level of technology within the school around those 21st century pedagogies.
Now, I've heard personally about the 21st century pedagogies. Exactly what does that mean for someone who's not well versed in, I guess, that type of speaks?
Look, the world is changing in terms of the way that we interact and we work within the world now. You know, there's very little tyranny of distance, so the 21st century skills is about how we teach our kids to be collaborative learners and to be creative learners, because they will be working across multiple jobs and multiple roles. It's not like when we were in school that we had a career vision and we would decide to stay within that career vision for our entire lives. The kids that we're currently servicing, the majority of them, the jobs that they will eventually undertake probably don't yet exist. They will be interacting with 21st century learning tools at quite a high level.
Mm-hmm.
So the nature of their learning within school needs to be markedly different. There will be a greater level of self-regulation and self-monitoring, a much higher level of collaborative learning, because they will need to learn as global citizens is the basic premise behind it. So that's what I like to think the main thrust of it is, John.
So it's basically, I mean, what I'd like to think about it is preparing the students for jobs that haven't been created yet.
Giving them the requisite skills so that they will be able to access those jobs that they yet don't have. It's not wouldn't be about a skill set for a specific job. It would be about a
Mm.
skill set that can service a great far-reaching range of jobs that will, we're in a global economy and a global marketplace now, so the
Mm.
manner in which whatever jobs they eventually enter into, whatever they turn out to be, the way that they operate comparatively to the way they operate now is extremely different. So
Yeah,
they
yeah.
have to be ready and skilled and conversant in those technologies. The ability for us as an educational institution to happily let children leave at the end of year 10, at the moment they can't do that unless they've got an apprenticeship or a job, but the world has changed. The sheer amount of manual labour jobs potentially and service industry jobs is far, far less than it was. So the level of required education for each child
Mm, mm.
in our changing global economy, there's much higher expectations on that. So as an institution, we have to prepare ourselves for that.
Fantastic, fantastic. And in that case, what benefit has having XOs for the students given your school?
Well, the main reason at the moment, or sorry, the main use at the moment of our XOs is that it's giving our children a level of access to the World Wide Web that they've never experienced before. So we're not a very wealthy school, so the XOs were a very cost-effective measure for us to provide access to the internet for every single student within this school, and I've still got an ability to grow slightly larger and still fulfill that. I've got some iPads in the school and some other different tablet technologies, but the main thrust for us is the XOs. So
Mm, mm, mm.
a lot of my population within their home environment aren't in situations where they have a great deal of access to the World Wide Web. So the sheer access to those resources, plus as my teachers and myself become more proficient with particularly higher order level apps, as opposed to the classic drill and kill apps, the potential for the XOs to be quite useful tools in creative pedagogy is there as well. So as a school, we're trying to go basically one app at a time. So we've starting to use across both the XOs and the iPads little apps like Book Creator
Mm.
as quite a creative little app that involves students engaging in learning at a much higher level than like the substitution level, which a lot of your apps like your math timetable apps, etc. do. So they're the sorts of things that we would like to head towards in terms of our app deployment. But there's also a time and a place for the less higher order educational apps that you can deploy to the XOs. The classic games that the kids love to do,
Of
they
course.
do still serve a strong purpose. And it's also enabling us to work across platforms. So, in my school, we've worked out a way, and I'll hopefully be able to take our guests through that process today. But we've worked out a way through both our school server and also through Google Apps and things like Google Drive to link our school-based computers to our XOs. So the work that the kids can do in the classroom on their XOs with things as simple as some desktop publishing or some working with the spreadsheet program through the Word King application. We can save those and the kids can access them back through their classroom PCs and the PCs within the computer lab. So, and that's got benefits for when they eventually want to print their work out. And I'm still working on getting the work to actually print directly from the XOs. We're
That's
trying
gonna
to write a
be.
script about that at the moment.
Oh wow. I don't know if any of the other participants caught that, but I'd be more than happy to share that script to everyone if you're okay for that to be shared. If once you guys have
Yeah,
completed that, that'll be so useful.
we haven't been successful yet, but we're working on it. So we've got some other Android tablets within the school, and we've managed to get them to be able to print directly to the school printers. But we've got to just tweak it for the EXOs because they, our understanding is they might only communicate to an internet printer. So we have to try and set up our photocopy printers as internet printers. So we're just working on the concept at the moment.
Fantastic, fantastic. Now, I know that as you started, I think you had also a few issues that you've encountered. What was the challenges that you faced earlier on when you started with the EXO program?
The challenges that I would identify, I suppose, are just general challenges with introducing ICT as within existing pedagogy, and with a high percentage of experienced and very capable teachers in the room that like their particular ways of working. It's been a challenge to teach them, the grassroots of how the EXOs operate, etc., and to get them to engage with them at a high level. I would still say that the majority of my teachers are using them to access things like mathematics or the Reading Eggs program through was it 3P learning that our kids have access to,
Yep.
and the internet, etc., etc. So our challenge is to obviously integrate ICT into the learning within every class at a much higher level. So that's a challenge to give the staff, given very limited time as it exists in all schools, creating enough opportunities for teachers to engage in really high-level professional learning. It's one thing to run like a lecture-style course for teachers, but the most effective learning is if I can sit down with one or two teachers and show them the ins and outs of how they can do things. And some of my staff have become very proficient, and some of my staff are still engaging at lower levels of intervention, and that's fine. These things take time.
Not a problem.
Another challenge, of course, would be the management and deployment of apps, be them at the levels of much higher order thinking level, or be them at the substitution level. How you can effectively deploy them to each of the Android devices so that it's actually manageable, and we found a really good way of doing that.
Awesome, and I can't wait for us to disseminate that information to the participants. So, folks, I wanted to quickly open the floor for the moment. Did anyone want to have a comment or say, ask something or say something regarding your experiences towards Doug or anything like that? Just tick your hand up button. So I've got Pia. Hang on. Good afternoon, Pia. How you going?
Oh, hi, how are you? I'm
Doing
sorry
well.
I was a bit late, but yeah,
No, that's
thank
okay.
you. I'm here, I'm listening. Yeah.
You had your hand up. Did you want to ask something for our guest speaker?
Oh, sorry, no, I think I've accidentally put my
Oh.
hand up. I better click lower. Sorry.
Not a problem. I got you. I got you. Hang on.
I was
And
on listen, but I was on listen only mode before, so
okay,
thanks, yeah.
not a problem.
Okay, ta.
Now I've got hang on. I have got Andre. Hang on. I'll put you on mute, Pia. Hang on, Andre. I'll unmute you, mate. Andre, did you want to ask the question directly to Doug?
Yeah, sure. Just checking to see if the devices, if they were one-to-one or were they shared devices.
Sorry, how do you mean, Andre?
Hi, well, thanks, Doug. Mate, just checking to see if they were one-to-one devices or were you sharing the devices in the classrooms?
No, one-to-one. Each kid's got their own device.
Okay.
Awesome.
Does that answer
Thanks.
the question?
Yep, that answers the question. Yep, no, my devices are shared, so yep, no, that's all good. Thanks.
Cool.
Thanks, Doug.
All right, and I've got Philip from Backtown North. Hang on, I'll put you on mute real quick, Andre. G'day, Philip.
Hey Doug, hey, we're having a lot of issues connecting our Ectos to the Wi-Fi at the school. Are there any tips to make it work more seamlessly?
What's your Wi-Fi? Are you using the One Education WAPs or are you using Aruba at WAPs?
We're using the school Wi-Fi, the school DAT Wi-Fi.
So is that Aruba?
I guess so.
So the Aruba, you would probably see them as a flashy looking greyish box, probably with 4 flashing green panels on, flashing lights on the front panel.
Okay.
Or have you got little WAP boxes that have got little aerials sticking up out the top of them?
I think we've got a bit of both.
Okay.
A mixture throughout the school.
The quality of your WAP system is probably really important. Okay, so in my school, I've got half of the school on the DET WAP, which puts out a signal to either WSR region or the DET NSW network, and that's we've had as many as 50 devices connected to one of those WAPs and getting great connectivity and quite adequate speed. The other half of my school is utilising the One Education WAPs, and they're getting between 25 to 30 devices on every single time. And initially we were having problems, but when the Connect app came out, are you using the Connect app?
We are, yeah.
Okay, we're having no issues. I did a test one day and we had all 230 kids on the internet at the same time, getting connectivity, great speed, working with graphics. So I can talk to Carmen and come out and have a look at you one day if that helps you, Phil. But I would invest in I would be investing through your ET4L in the Arubas. I've gone for 1 per classroom, but initially you could set up 1 between 2 classrooms, and they auto configure as well, which is really good. It's your cat could install them, so if they were tall.
And Philip, Andre was noting as well. Actually, I might have him have a quick chat about that. Andre, I'm just going to quickly unmute you, my friend. Go ahead, mate.
We had massive issues with our Wi-Fi connectivity and logged a call with the DET, and they needed to update the firmware on our Aruba WAPs. So it was just a matter of logging a call, and they updated the firmware, and we saw pretty quick results because our XOs were dropping off just on the network 1 minute, dropping off the next, even though we were using the Connect app. Logged a call with the DET help desk, and they very quickly updated the firmware. Didn't take them too long, and we saw pretty quick results.
Fantastic, awesome. And that's what I think. Cool. That's one thing I'd like to encourage everybody. Thank you so much, Andre. Thank you, Philip. If you're having issues like that, guys, just give us a call. Or if we can't help you, we've got resources and we've got contacts across the school network that might have the answer for you. So don't hesitate to send a message out, and we'll pretty much try to look for a solution for you. And we're gonna give this one more go. So hang on, I've got another question here. Hang on, Pia, did you want to ask a question? Hi, Pia, you put your hand up again.
Me? No, it's down. It says lower hand. It's pointing down, is it?
It's
no?
Not a problem. I'll hang on. I've got a case.
Oh, it's pointing up now. Okay, it's pointing up. Yeah, no, with that fellow, we had massive problems also with the internet connectivity, and ours was because we didn't have enough IP addresses. So whether we had iPads or XOs or whatever, we just didn't have enough IP addresses. So, and also, as you mentioned, the lease has been reduced from 2 weeks per address to 1 day. So that's all they've managed to do thus far with us. So we've got to rev up the teachers again, because during that time, with all the ups and downs, instead of investigating apps and that, we were just running around trying to get things connected and to stay connected. Also, we discovered that we were using your apps, I think, the One Education, and we didn't realize that they're only taking like 20 or so students at a time, and the teachers were trying to put in whole classes at a time.
Ah.
But they were other issues, plus we're getting a bit of extra cabling, another thing that's feeding into the problem. And I've been just chasing up the department now to make sure they will give us more IP addresses for the future.
Awesome, awesome.
And
So
the connectivity has been a lot better since then.
excellent, excellent. And so Andre also noted Anthony Hendricks at ICT helped. Now I've got Acacia. Thanks, Pia. I'm going to quickly mute you for now. And
Okay.
I've got, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry, Miss Yaluris. Okay, I've got Acacia from the whole state school in Queensland. Hi, Acacia. How you going? Hi, Acacia. Oh, okay. Maybe she does not have. All right, maybe she doesn't have a microphone. That's okay. I'll put her on mute again real quick. Okay, so folks, we've asked about the challenges that Doug's faced, but now comes the exciting part. Doug, I'm going to give you the presenter view, and would you be able to share with us what you're working on right now and how you've been able to deploy those apps to students? And I'm going to give you presenter now.
Okay.
Where's that button? Change presenter, Doug Perot. There you go. Perot. Sorry, Perot. Jane's back. Cool.
Okay, have you got my screen?
All right, so everyone just make a note. Awesome. Yep,
We're all good?
we can see it. We can see it fine.
Yeah, you can see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Oh, how clever is that? That's good. Okay, so John asked me to come out and well, John asked me at this webinar to have a talk to you all about how we've tried to work with getting the apps on to our kids' devices, etc., and how it can be a manageable process. And we've come up with a process that we've actually even got our kindergarten kids to be able to install apps on their devices themselves, etc. If I can preface the whole thing though by saying, and some of you might know the answer in relation to this, but the legalities over app deployment through the Google Play Store are quite unknown, if I can say that. I've had a few talks with some techie people. I've had a few talks with John, and there's no clear definitive information or knowledge. Even when you read each app developer's privacy statements, etc., it doesn't give you very much information. So as a school, and obviously discussing things with your principal as to what you feel you're comfortable doing in terms of paid apps, if I could talk about them at the moment. My discussion with John indicated that if the apps through the Google Play Store are very different, in my opinion, to the apps through something like the Apple Store in your iTunes account. So with Apple, you know, you can purchase one app and you can put that one app on 6 devices as long as you personally own the 6 devices. But under an education policy, if you buy an app for an iPad, okay, you can only deploy that one app to that one iPad. Hence why Apple, if I can just talk about Apple for a second, came up with a volume purchase program. And if you're not familiar with that and you do have iPads, I'd recommend that it's quite important and vital that you do start up a VPP account with Apple, because it will give you access to apps at a 50% discount for bulk purchases over 20 if you weren't aware of that. But back to the Google Play Store, it's unclear that when you purchase an app through the Google Play Store how many devices you can actually store it on. I've had comment from experts that say, well, as long as the app is purchased with a particular Google account, a Gmail account, as many devices as you want to access that app, you can deploy to your device, etc. I don't believe personally that that is accurate, so I've had to sort of mull over this in my head from a moral perspective. If I was a developer and I'd spent X number of dollars on developing a really good app, and just say I wanted $5 for it, I would be uncomfortable if, you know, a whole school of 1,000 kids paid $5 for the app to deploy it to all 1,000 of their devices. So I still can't find any significant answers around the licensing of Google Apps, but what I've decided to do for my school is, the first thing I did was I set up an individual Gmail account for each of my classes in the school, and if a class has an average of 25 students within the school, so if I've got an app that I really like, and just say it costs $3, excuse me, then to make myself feel comfortable within my school and to make sure that I'm at least trying to be compliant with some unknown licensing laws, I'm going to buy that app 10 times. So I'm happy to deploy it to the 25 devices that are in each particular class, or as I think it was Andre said, that's got a shared role, you might be happy to deploy it to the, say, 10 devices that are shared within that class. So that's how I have solved part of my issue around, well, what do I actually have to pay for apps, etc. So, you know, I from my school budget, I'm happy to put around about $3K per year to bulk purchases of apps across both the iTunes Store and the Google Play Store. I'll just go onto my screen, and I'll just going to go into the Google Play Store very, very quickly. Okay, so I'm just going to click up the little top here at my little arrow. As you can see at the moment, one of my Gmail accounts is bops4192@gmail, which is I call that my general app account. And if I log into that, you can see pop up some other accounts that I've created for my school. So down the bottom, an EALD BOP, so my English as an additional language or dialect, or my ESL teacher, for Philip's benefit, I know he's an ESL teacher at Blacktown North. She goes in and she can pay for apps on that because I've put X number of dollars on that account. The Stage 2 coordinator can go into the Stage 2 BOPS at Gmail account, the Stage 1, the early Stage 1, the Stage 3, etc. But I do also have accounts for each class, so that the classroom teacher has some level of control over that with respect to free apps. If they want a paid app at my school, they're asked to let me know, and I'll go and have a look at the app and critique it, and if I'm happy with it, I'll download it to each of the teachers' accounts, etc., and pop it in there. But that's just purely from a moral perspective. Initially, when we started to look at apps, we thought, well, we'll get all the kids to go through the Play Store, and they can go into the Play Store and they could download them directly to their devices. And that is possible, but if any of you have tried that, you may have quickly realised that lots of kids actually have their own personal Gmail accounts, and some of them have money on those Gmail accounts. And for the kids that are a little bit more IT savvy, and of course within your school you probably have systems in place around particular consequences for inappropriately using those accounts. But we did have a few kids download, you know, Minecraft, etc., to their XOs, and we actually had no knowledge of them doing that until, you know, we managed to spring them one day, and then took their XO off them for a period of time. But we've gone a different way now in terms of how we can deploy those apps, and trust me, letting the kids have access to the Play Store, okay, is not very viable, particularly if you wanted to, say, download a paid app, because you can't give the kids the password to that account. If you did that, if you tried to download a paid app directly from the Play Store, you would actually personally, as a classroom teacher, have to go around and enter the password into each device for it to start the download process, and you'd have to agree to the terms and conditions, etc. So that really didn't work for us. Are there any questions at this point in time, John?
Guys, I just wanted to open that floor. Anyone wanted to ask a question about paid apps and deployment for the moment? Anyone?
We're all good?
All good for the moment?
Okay, all
I
right.
think so.
So,
hang on. Before you continue, sorry there, Doug. If you guys wanted to, ask a question, just click the button that says raise hand, and I'll be able to unmute you. Or otherwise, there's a chat bar on the left-hand side, and sorry, not left-hand side. There should be a question pane that you can click on and ask a question, and I'll be able to field that for you. Go ahead. Sorry, Doug.
okay. I've gone back to my home screen now. Okay, now hopefully you're all familiar with this little app down the bottom that comes part of your XO. It's the ES3 File Explorer. It operates very, very similar to Windows File Explorer, and it enables you to manipulate your files and create files within within the XO. Okay. If I click on that very quickly, it takes you to the next level, and what you can see here hopefully are all the generic folders that are set up as part of the XO. I was actually part of a webinar, and I noticed some other people discussing, I think it might have been Jay was discussing about different levels of connectivity, and I saw over here this little possibility of network. Okay, so I'm not sure how Queensland schools operate or what your file server system is like, but DEC schools, you all have a campus distribution of some format that has a particular address, and you can actually point devices directly to it. I mean, I wasn't sure if we could do it with the XOs, but to my delight, we were actually able to. So when I click on my network, okay, up pops another number of other options for you, and lo and behold, I saw this little local area network app, which is the LAN app, and if I click on that, you'll see that at my school I've been able to point my XO to the school's collaboration drive, and I've been able to point it also to the faculty drive, and if I wanted to point it to the principal's drive, I could just by rocking in. So what you would all do is down the bottom here, you would click on this little option of new. So it's asking you that you want to create a new network connection, and up will pop a dialog box that asks you to put in information about your school server. Now at this point in time you might not have the exact information about your school server, but for all New South Wales schools, okay, it should be this one. I'm just going to do something a little bit different that you don't have to do, but if I do a long touch on my collaboration drive and I get this little tick pop up, okay, I get this option down the bottom to edit my server. So I'll just show you the details that are in mine, and my understanding is if you pop into the domain area, Det New South Wales, and into your server information, and understand that the words that appear here are because of the way that my server's set up, so yours might be set up very, very differently, but this should be a common component except for the first 4 digits. The first 4 digits are your are those digits that are unique to your school code. So if you guys were to put that into yours and then try to access it, you wouldn't be able to because you don't have permissions through Deep to access my school server. It's part of your login script that goes, you know, hidden with your name. Okay, in mine I've got my short name, but what we've done for every single EXO in the school is we've popped in that domain, Det New South Wales, we've popped in the server address, okay, and I've pointed it directly to my collaboration drive. I don't know how you've set up your collaboration drives within your schools, but all DET schools should have a collaboration drive and a faculty drive. And you've probably noticed of late an additional 2 drives that the department has made available through our school servers for whatever you want to use it for. But for all of my students, their username is their normal login address and their normal password address. It's just the normal one, and you know, I did nothing else but that, and I pressed OK, and lo and behold, it downloaded the collaboration drive. Now I'll just take you through my school's collaboration drive. So not through the EXOs, but through the DET system, this is a standard setup for you guys. Okay, you've got what's called a composite drive within the collaboration drive, and you've got year folders, etc. If I press my year 1 folder, you see that I've got my classes set up within there, okay, and I've got a folder for apps for that particular class. And if I click on the 1F at the moment, I don't have personal folders set up, okay, because we set this collaboration drive up before we had our EXOs. But if I go into my composite drive, I've got a stage folder, I've got a year folder, I've got all my classes listed there, and within each of my classes is each single child's personal file. And I'll just go into Ivy's, and you can see there that she's got 3 publisher files that she's worked on in our computer lab. She hasn't done anything yet on her EXO that she can save into that. But as you can see, I can quite easily place a file or a document from a desktop publishing by copying it and simply pasting it directly into this drive. There's no direct save ability, like if I'm working in WordKing on a word processing file and I go save, I don't get options that enable me to navigate to the collaboration drive, but I can simply copy it from the My Documents folder and then open up the collaboration drive, navigate through all the folders to their personal drive, and my Year 1 kids are doing this quite easily, and then simply pasting their work from their EXO directly into that collaboration drive. So I'm sure most of you are familiar with that process of how kids navigate to their personal folder, but honestly the process of setting it up was as simple as going into the LAN folder again, setting up a new connection, entering the information. So up here I would put in the DET and SW. Down here would be my 4192 and all of the other information that follows it. Here, you know, it's a matter of going blogs if he was a student here, popping in his password, and down the bottom here, this is not necessarily an important one, but you just type in how you want the folder to be displayed on your EXO, and I won't press OK, but if I did press OK, that would come up as a different folder that's got access and points to your school server. So it's definitely possible. Are there any questions about that at this point?
So folks, let's just open that the floor again. Anyone would like to ask a question about how to connect to your school server? Hang on a sec. Actually, I'll have a chat with Malcolm because I know Malcolm's a bit of a techie. Malcolm, how you going? Malcolm, do you have a microphone?
Oh, g'day. Yes.
How's it? Doing well, mate. So did you have any questions for Doug regarding connecting to your school server?
No, I followed the steps and it all works quite nicely.
Awesome.
I've actually spent quite a bit of time trying to get it to work, and it is fussy on the syntax you use when you fill in those dialog boxes.
But
That's the biggest issue I was having. I spent a few hours on it actually, and just kept getting a message back, server could not be found. And
you
I've
managed
just
to.
tried it now.
Yeah, I think
Sorry?
it's all related to your connectivity. If you've got good connectivity, it works a lot better. Like for all of my exos in my school, I can go into any
Well,
class and I can see 4 and 5 bars every time. So
well, the only thing I've changed that seems to make it work is in the username field is just putting in the username. I have
yeah,
been trying my full username at New South Wales /, my short username, and all sorts of combinations. And I don't think I tried my short username without the New South Wales, and that seems to be the trick.
yeah, and when I first started this up, I actually thought that I would have to put my short name into every single device, which would be problematic around the time that the department sends out the reminders that they're about to change your password or that you are required to change your password, because then you would have to go around to every device. But look, I have got it working on every single child's EXO. They all have access just to the collaboration drive through that. And it even transfers the folder permissions as well, which is quite interesting. So,
Okay.
you know, I've tried logging on as a child to have access to the faculty drive, and it just comes back access denied, which was important for me given, you know, that my teachers access to faculty drive, and the permission setups actually work as well. So
Cool.
I'm glad that it's worked for you, Malcolm. But
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
I did all that as well. I tried the kid's name at Det New South Wales and it didn't work, and lo and behold, when I took out that that postscript, it just went straight through.
Sweet as.
Yep.
Cool. All right. Well, folks, what I
Yeah,
might
so
do.
easy when you know how.
So what I might do is I'll on the website that we have, the forum website. I also list the sorry, I'll list the contact details with your permission, Doug, for
Absolutely.
just so we can come back to it, and Doug can either give you some tips on email or can direct you to the right contact person for New South Wales. Malcolm, thanks so much for your comments, mate. I'd put you on mute again. It's we also have Polly from Queensland, and Jane. I think you should unmute, and I think you, Jane, and Polly should have a quick chat about this. Doug, hang on a sec. Polly, did you want to ask a question?
Sorry, I just took a mouthful of food. Anyway, so I'm in Queensland and I've got the EXOs in front of me, but I'm not sure how I get it connected to our Queensland network.
If you've got a techie in the school,
No, not in this school. And I'm the classroom teacher and 12 other hats.
okay, I'm sure that if you rang IT support, that they would be able to help you with the name of your service. So if you let them know that there's a particular address that you're after to get an Android device to point wirelessly to the school server, that they would be able to get it to you. But I'll do some research from my end as to how that might work in a Queensland system as well. But I don't have enough knowledge to comment professionally about the Queensland system. But it wouldn't make sense that one state can do it and another state can't. There would be a way.
Jane,
Yes,
any
they
comments?
Yeah, I'm in Queensland as well, and I haven't investigated that mainly because most of the schools that I work at don't have Wi-Fi, so this isn't something that we could use very much until we do, but I will have a look tomorrow. I'll go in and follow all of those instructions that Doug just went through, and I'll put it in the forum if I find anything, Pollyann.
Fantastic.
Yep, and
Thank you.
feel free to give me a ring at school as well. I'm happy to help on the phone.
Oh, that'd be great.
Cool. All
No
right.
worries.
I'll just quickly put you on mute, Polly. And Andre, did you want to have a quick word as well? Because we still have to interview Miss West in a second. So, Andre?
I thought if you right-click on the folder and go to properties, it shows the name of the one that you're trying to share. Does that help those Queensland people? And just seeing if Doug had any suggestions for shared devices with multiple logins. Thanks.
So, Doug, over to you.
With shared devices for multiple logins, in terms of the processor that I just took you through, there's no problem with the same device having the same login information. So for some reason in my school, kids with really long names have trouble. I've got a significant number of Indian and Sri Lankan kids, so I've got some very interesting names, but apart from the difficulties of those kids remembering how to actually log in, I seem to have difficulty not with the XOs, but with the department, those kids logging in. So I've got like a common login. It might be a student in the class for this device, and it's not a problem for me with passwords because I don't let my kids have personal passwords. Their password is just the class name they're in for the current year, and if ever they decide to go and change it, I just go back through the department app and change it back. So for a shared device that you've got to share across 3 or 4 kids, they should be able to log in under a common student name, okay, and as long as they're in that class, the permissions to access the folders should still be there.
I hope that helped, Andre. Is that cool?
Thank you. Yeah, that's great.
Awesome. All right, mate, I'll quickly put you on mute. And now that we've got the audio back, thank you so much, Doug. We really appreciate that. And that's all recorded, folks. I'm really, really happy to say. And I also just wanted, Jayne, can I quickly introduce you and give you presenter rights?
Sorry,
Okay.
John?
Oh, sorry.
John?
Yes, Doug.
Can I just quickly finish about the apps, etc.?
Oh, yes, of course.
It'll only take a few minutes, okay, because I'm sure the audience would like to know about the apps, okay?
Go ahead, sir.
So with the apps, what I do is, because I control mostly the paid apps centrally, okay, on my EXO device, I download the apps to my device, okay? Is my screen still shared?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay. Just going back to my home page, and I'm going to my app tray, and within my app tray, and there's a information on the One Education side about this particular app. Oh, sorry, I can't find it. But there's an app called an APK Extractor. It's this one that I'm touching right here. Okay.
Yes.
So when you've downloaded apps to your XO and you want to move them to another device, and in my school's case, I want to move all of these apps onto my server, I go into my APK extractor, and this is just downloadable from the Google Play Store. It's a free download, and it's usually the first one that comes up. But if you access the One Education tool and that's got the helpful hints, okay, so you can see on my device I've got all of these apps that are listed. Okay, now if I wanted to move them to another device, okay, on the right hand side over here, just say I wanted to grab Book Creator, all I do is long touch it, okay, and as you can see, a series of, can you see the boxes on mine? You can see down the bottom here this calendar storage one. There's a little box come up, but I can then go and tick that box, and I can tick all the apps that I wanted to copy over, all right? And up the top here, oh sorry, there's this little arrow, and if I touch that, that's an extraction button, and it tells me I'm extracting those apps. You can see it go through the cycle. Okay, and now I've now extracted those apps. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my home page again. I'm going to go into my File Explorer, And the XO, sorry, gives you, where is it, John? Where's the extracted files folder?
It should be over home
In
and
light.
under
Yeah,
local home. So local and then home?
Local and
Home?
home page.
Home.
Home, okay, yeah, okay, sorry, there it is. There's a folder that you've automatically got called extracted apps. You go into that folder and you can see now that I've extracted some apps from my XO to this folder now, okay? So if I want to move them now, I again do a long touch, and again that option comes up with a little box, so I'm choosing these apps, okay? I get the option down the bottom of my ES3 File Explorer to copy them or to cut them. I copy them. Now I'm assuming that they're copied. I now navigate to my collaboration drive, my land. I go into my collaboration folder. I've popped in my all students. I've popped a folder called Google Apps, and as you can see, I can deploy them to stages, and within stages I can deploy them to classes. But okay, I'll just go open up my stage 3 one. Okay, and all I do now is push paste, and I've already got that one in there, okay, so you won't get that message. It's starting to now copy those apps to this particular folder. I'm just going to cancel that. You can hopefully see what the process is. So what my staff now go into is that they get their kids in there. So I'll go back to my home screen. So imagine that my teachers are out the front of their class now and they want to get their kids to install an app on their kids' devices. So each student goes into their own ES File Explorer. Okay, I'm just going to go to going to close that down. I'm going to go back into the local okay, just say this is where they came to. Each student then navigates through the network to the LAN folder, they navigate to the collaboration folder, they navigate to the composite folder, and they navigate of course to the Google Apps folder. If it's a stage 3 class, they navigate to their own folder, and here are the apps. And if the teacher says, okay, I want you to download Drag and Box Algebra, all they do is click on that, and you can see that it's starting to download that particular app to their device. So there's been no need for them to go to the Google Play Store. If it's a paid app, it's not asking questions about do you want to pay for this, because it's already happened through me. It asked me to install that app. I don't know why this comes up, but I always select Package Installer. And then you get a question, do you want to install it? It asks you, depending upon the app, it'll ask you about different levels of permissions potentially, like do you approve in-app purchases? And I always do, because the kids don't have the password, and so they can't get past it, unless of course they figure out the password. Okay, and I've done this with a whole class, and it will download the app to each device in about 2 minutes with everyone connected at the same time. So for some reason, okay, so as you can see, the app's installed, and it gives you the ability to open that app immediately, and the kids can start going in and engaging with that app. Yeah, so you've got to do your research about your good apps, etc., but that's how I get my apps on my devices without going to the Google Play Store.
Wow.
Are there any questions about that? And
you missed your calling. You should really be a techie instead of a principal, mate.
Oh, really? Trust me, no. There's just to finish off with, and I do apologise, but I have to go and pick up my daughter, John, so I
Yep.
can't stay. My apologies to the Queensland presenter, but there's there's potentially some legal issues with this process, etc. So what I've set this up for the purpose of this webinar, but once I've got the kids to download the app onto their device, I actually go back to my school server and I delete the app. It doesn't matter if I delete it because I paid for it, because it will always be associated with the Google account that I originally downloaded it to, and it'll always be in that Google account until I actually delete it from that Google account. And I hope that sort of makes sense to people. And
So Doug,
it's a good
why do
process.
you?
Yep, go ahead.
Why do you delete it?
I'm not sure about the legalities of it. Like I'm putting an app that is available on the App Store, and I'm actually putting it on a third-party system. I'm actually putting it on my school file server. So potentially anyone that accesses my school file server can actually download that particular app. And I only do it with Google Apps because I don't have to do it with the Apple apps. I've got the volume purchase program about that, and the licensing issues are quite clear. They're still a bit unclear from Google as to what we are allowed to do and not allowed to do. So I am investigating it quite heavily with DEC. The response from the Department of Education, interestingly enough, is that, Doug, if it's on the Google Play account, as many devices as you want can access it. But I just don't believe that that's accurate. I can't believe that a developer would actually approve that. So I have I suppose, a moral dilemma in some regard, and I believe that I manage it from at least an attempt at being moral and upright, if that sort of makes sense. So,
Cool.
but in essence, that's the way that you can get apps deployed to all of your devices without giving kids access to the Play Store, and it's also much quicker when you download it from your folder that's on your school shared drive. The installation process is an awful lot quicker because it's coming from your intranet as opposed to the internet.
You still have to be connected to the Wi-Fi network of the school, correct?
Yes, you do.
Awesome.
Yep. All right.
Excellent. Well, guys, please join me in thanking Doug Perrott. Sorry. Oh my Lord. I'm just gonna call you Doug.
Doug will be fine.
For his expertise today. Thanks so much, mate. Thank you so much, and be safe in picking up your daughter.
No worries. And again, if I can reiterate, if people want to give me a call, I can try and take them over the phone with the process.
Sweet as.
One-to-one, that's not a problem.
Awesome. And like I said, what I'll do is I will only put your email address, or would you prefer the email or the school phone number on?
No, my personal email's fine. Yep.
Yes, sir.
That's all well and good. So.
Awesome. I'll do that on the One Education forums, guys. Alrighty. Thanks, Doug. All the best, and will we see you at the 5:31, or I'll just reiterate some of the points you've said.
Yeah, I can't be there. I apologise. I would like to be, but I actually won't be back in time for it, unfortunately.
Not a problem. All right, my friend. I'll leave you to it.
Thanks very much, everyone. Happy XOing.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. All right. Thanks for that. That was really informative. Thanks, Doug. Yes. So now, Jayne, we've got you back on point. So can you tell us a little bit of something about yourself?
Have we got time still?
Well, I just wanted to kind of go from who are you, and then what can you do to for the XOs.
Okay. I'm in Townsville in Queensland. I've been a classroom teacher for many years. Oh, I don't know what I've got on my screen yet. Hang on. Trying to do two things at once. I've been working in IT since the year 2000, so that's a good 15 years. The last 10 years I've been working in a regional office and out at schools in IT kinds of projects. This year I'm at 3 primary schools, Heatley Primary School, Aikenvale and Vincent Primary School. So Heatley's got about 380 XOs, Aikenvale has about the same, 380, and Vincent about 120. So all up close to 1,000 XOs that I've got there to manage, which is quite huge. I also manage iPads at those schools as well. So it's nice having the Android and the Apple base because there's a lot of parallels between them. Yeah.
Awesome. And could you share a little bit about the Android apps that you found useful for your EA for your oh goodness, EALD students? Sorry, I can't do that. I'll leave it up to you. It's bold for
ESL, I
crying
think
out.
everyone knows what ESL means, but yeah, the term we're using now is EALD. In recognition of those kids that don't have English as their second language, they have it as their third or fourth or fifth language, yeah. So, yeah, just really quickly, Literacy Planet. I don't think you can go past Literacy Planet.
Yeah, very good app, that one. And for everybody, we still have the special deal until September. I'll put the link on the chat. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, Literacy Planet is the only paid app that we have. We don't have a budget for apps, so everything that we have sourced is free. So we heavily use Literacy Planet, and we've got a whole heap of other apps on there as well. I guess at the beginning of the year, as it would have been for everybody, it was a massive job reflashing all of the old XOs and sourcing apps to make them most usable. So we've got the skill building apps, and like Doug was saying, we're heavily biased towards the creativity apps as well. We've got lots of stories on there, and we encourage kids to record their own audio and video. And being in Queensland, we have access to a whole host of learning objects on the Learning Place, and we can download those and run all of our learning objects on the XOs as well. So skill building apps, again, these are all free, but there's some really good quality ones. We've downloaded a heap that aren't so good, so there's been a lot of research and trial and error. So that IntelliJoy ones along the bottom, all those ABC 1, 2, 3 type apps, phonics and spelling. There's Jollyphonics, my book of Jollyphonics, which has got all of the songs and words and all of that, picture dictionaries, and some maths ones as well. Creativity, so we love the Lenku Create and the Pic Collage. We've got some image creation apps and some comic strip apps. We love the Book Creator, same as Doug. And there's the Scratch Junior and some audio ones. So we've got about 200 apps loaded onto the XOs. I'm not going to put them all out there today. Overwhelm you all. So we've got quite a collection of stories as well. If you get on Google Play, there's millions of them. So we've got like the fairy tales, the Three Little Pigs, Beauty and the Beast. Like there's probably 100 of those. Cat in the Hat. And we've got stories around whatever the units are that the classes are studying as well. So things like Who Sank the Boat and Rainbow Fish. So they're video stories. So the kids can just put their headphones on and read along and speak along with them. And we encourage the kids to create their own stories as well. So we'll have, the pictures from the book there, and they can do the voiceovers. A really cool little one, the Disney Kids audio one. It's just audio, but it's got all of the Disney audio things, so like Lion King and all that. And examples of our learning objects that we have. So there's probably 1,000, 2,000, I don't know, 10,000 different learning objects from maths to language, and these are interactive, so the kids can input all of their answers, take screenshots as evidence for a digital portfolio. And finding apps, that was really great to hear from Doug on how he manages his apps, because Oh my goodness, 1,000 exos, and we pretty much did them one by one via
Oh no.
USB. And it was a really big job at the beginning of the year. It's good now because we've got our base of them all, and we've skilled the children up enough to be able to hand them the USBs and say, you go copy it and do it themselves. But right at the beginning of the year, they didn't know about the platform. We didn't know about the platform, so you kind of muddle your way through. So yeah, that was really good to hear from Doug. I'll be trying that out tomorrow, see if we can connect to our server. I guess the biggest challenge for us has been no Wi-Fi and no money. So yeah, that might change.
Did you see Polly's note?
Did I see whose note?
Polly Ann's note? Because she worked out how to
No.
connect the network.
Say that again, please.
She worked out how to connect to the network.
Oh, she's done it already.
She's an eager beaver, isn't it?
Ah, wow. So you'll have to post that in the forum, Pollyann. I'll be having a look at that tomorrow. That sounds great.
All right. So, man, I wish we had a little bit more time because that was really good what Doug said. But so we have the 5:30 webinar looming on us real soon, and I don't want to keep you guys too long. I'll open the floor to the questions, guys. I'm gonna if you have a question or a comment you'd like to say, I'll unmute you so you can feel free to ask questions to Jane about, especially about how she found the effect was of these apps to the students and which ones they mostly use. I'll get started by asking this question, Jane. When it comes to the students, how did you actually get them engaged and involved?
I think a lot of the teachers just put them out as free time initially. Because I am an added extra in a lot of schools and my role is dealing with exos and iPads, I work with the teachers. So initially I would go to the classrooms and give an overview to the classes and the teachers about how they work, and I might go back for half an hour each week and then slowly pass the job over to the teacher. So I work closely with the teachers in planning for EXO integration and assisting them in the classroom until they find their feet and they can manage that on their own.
Awesome. Awesome. Hang on, Polly is really excited. I just have to unmute her so she can explain it to you. So Polly, could you just have a chat with us about how you managed to connect to the Queensland DET?
Okay, so Jane, same instructions as Doug with going into ES folder, network, and then clicking on new. But my computer's having a moment, as it does. Okay, so the domain is qdata-x.
Yeah.
Server, you know when you go into your folder and you've got your G drive and your T drive and so on, but it's got in brackets EQ. What's yours? I'm FCW for Central West. What's your?
NOQ.
So you'd have NOQ and then there's a few numbers. Do you know where I'm looking on your usual Dell computer?
Yeah, I'm not in the school right now. I'm home.
Ah, lucky you. I'm still in the school. But anyway, go when you're at school tomorrow and you've got your G drive. There's that whole wad of numbers and letters just before it, and it'll say EQ. Northwest, what is it again?
NOQ.
NOQ, and they'll have your numbers. You put that as your server and your username and your password and just type what you may. The only glitch is if you write that number, letters and numbers, it will give you access to everyone's folders. Which it does ask you, because I pressed on admin. I know I can't access admin. That's for the boss. But I tried, and it said, no, you do not have the privileges. But then I tried the student ones. I can go into every single student.
Wow.
So that's the bit of an unsafe thing. Another thing I tried, if you write in that IP address and you do a / and see I have a generic password for all my exos here. I wrote that generic username in there and it went straight into that one, so that's how I'm thinking I'm going to do it.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. I will be testing it tomorrow.
If you can find out an easier way to get into, you know, T drive or the other drives, like do a drive specifically rather than username, I'd love to know.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Anyway,
Yeah, you
Lo-
might have to test which permissions they have.
yes, that's the fun part.
Yeah. So well done. That was great.
Cool.
Thank you.
All right, thank you guys. I'm just going to quickly mute you there, Paulie. Thanks for that. Okay. Now, guys, I love the collaboration here. Anyone else who'd like to make a comment about the ESL? Philip, I was told that you were actually a ESL teacher over at Blacktown North. Did you want to comment on any other apps that you use there, Phil? Go ahead, Philip.
We're currently not using anything except for Mathletics and reading eggs on ours at the moment.
Okay.
As we said, we had a lot of issues with the connectivity and all that sort of stuff. So once we get that sorted and we get access to following Doug's procedure there, then we'll be able to download some more apps.
Okay, not a problem. All right, mate, I'll put you on mute again. So, folks, what I'll do is I'll ask for Jayne to send me a copy of that PowerPoint, and we can again put it on the forum so everyone can have a copy of it. Guys, I better cut it short here. We've been going on for a while now. Thank you so much for your participation. I apologize for mucking around technology-wise a little bit early on. I think it was GoToWebinar actually pulling our leg. But Jayne, thank you so much for your participation and for your assistance. I'll see you in a few minutes.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks, guys. All the best. I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks, Andre. I'm ending the webinar now. Thanks, folks. Bye-bye.